this is how the story begins when Wario somehow managed to crash landed into this forest. Hey, what's up everyone? It is I am the one and only Mighty the Armadillo here, and I'm from the likes of the Mexi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll present you our next new Let's Play, which appears to be Wario Land 3 for the Game Boy Color, which, unlike the forms of Wario Land 2, this is only exclusive to the Game Boy Color, not just the Game Boy alone, but you know what I'm saying. So this game came out in 2000, which I kind of believe has been about, you know, over 2 decades old already, so even then though, we're able to know something like this. And as you can tell, I'm gonna be playing it on the actual emulator, much like in Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, as well as Wario Land Virtual Boy game, and heck, even with the forms of Wario Land 2. So we figured I was able to actually get onto the emulator for one last time for the Wario platformer series of games, and because of that though, yeah, we're about to get started with Wario Land 3. So either way though, we can expect to able to, well, get into this game. So because of that, I think we're pretty much almost to the point where basically we're pretty much almost at the halfway point in terms of the forms of, well, I would say that we're pretty much at the halfway point in terms of the rest of the Wario platformer series by to that point. And once we're done with those specific series, then we can pretty much gonna move on to the next new series and all that stuff. But anyways, enough about that little jibby jabber, and apparently we somehow ended up on this particular inside the music box. I see how this goes though, hey? Oh jeez, what the heck is this? Are you aware, Wario? This world is in the music box you were praying into. I was the god that protected this world. But one day, a wretched being sealed away my power and took control of this world. Wario, I want you to find the 5 music boxes needed to break the hidden seal and recover my powers. If you find them, I'll send you back to your own world. Of course, all the treasures you find is yours to keep. Will you help me? And Wario's like puzzled, and he says yes. And he's up for the next adventure. So because of that, and after we able to go for that conversation, we ended up on the forms of a, well, first of all, this is what the world map looks like, and basically you can go through like stage to stage and all that stuff. At the moment, we can either go onto the temple, or the first level in this game, which appears to be out of the woods. Now, as you can tell, though, we ended up on the forms of a north section in the music box itself. Because basically, though, some of those stages can be divided into, like, you know, with the actual compass system, you know, with the forms of north, south, east and west. Well, that's what we're going to be able to do with in this point. So, yeah, basically, if you ever played Wario Land 2 before, you should probably be familiar with this. Except, as you notice, that we are basically downgraded at the moment. Because, well, if you couldn't tell already, it's the fact that we've lost our abilities ever since during the forms of, well, in Wario Land 2. So, remember in Wario Land 2, that basically we normally do ground pounds, and also we did manage to able to pick up enemies from time to time. Well, that doesn't seem to happen in the beginning portion of the game, because as you can see for that enemy over there, I can't pick up that enemy unless I do need a specific power-up on several levels worth noting for. So because of that, yeah, this is going to be more accurately like a Metroidvania kind of style of gameplay, which I don't mind it at all, especially notable about the fact that, well, usually potentially speaking, it's all about exploration, much like in Wario Land 2, and just like in Wario Land 2, that, as you notice, that every time you get hit by a certain enemy, that you don't actually lose a life, or even essentially that, well, unlike any forms of the previous games, that basically though, that, well, to be more specifically in Wario Land 2, that you don't lose coins if you get hit by an enemy. Because, well, I'll explain more of that in a moment until whenever we get to the next level. So because of that, as you can see, the main objective in this game is the fact that we need to find a specific colored keys, which there are grey, blue, red, and green keys, respectively, and they all ended up on every single world of the game. So for instance, we've managed able to open up the grey chest, and basically this allows us to unlock not only one, but 2 levels, which is the Peaceful Village and the Vast Plain. So of course we're able to actually show those levels in a chronological order, although sometimes we might go back onto the previous levels until whenever we're able to actually stumble across some different items and such, but we'll point it out whenever we get into the future points of this Let's Play in general, so yeah, you probably get the idea about that. So yeah, today's day is of course the 2nd of September today, in this case in 2021, and you notice about the fact that so far that some toy sales that already did manage to able to got started with Banjo-Tooie today, or specifically yesterday actually. So even then though, between Banjo-Tooie along with Wario Land 3, those two are going to be one of the longest Let's Plays we ever going to be able to come across into. Well, I would say still, it will have to be by the forms of well, Banjo-Tooie most likely, because that game is like super duper long. Compared to Wario Land 3, it might actually take a bit of while. Although, it really depending on length though, that's the only solution I can think of, so... Anyway, so as you notice that we actually stumbled across the first transformation, and this what appears to be a returning transformation ever since in Wario Land 2. This what appears to be the Zombie Wario. However though, remember the forms of in Wario Land 2 for that Zombie Wario transformation? Normally you can't jump when you deal with that transformation. Whilst in here this time around, you can now actually jump while you're in zombie form. So because of that, I think this is actually a welcoming addition, especially noticeable if you're trying to stumble across, you know, other treasures in the future points of this game. Then I'll talk more about it until then. So either way though, yeah, that's it for the Peaceful Village, and we've managed to obtain the grey key on that level, which obviously that usually contains the grey chest and all that stuff. So now we move on to the Vast Plain, and as you can see we have another transformation, but except this time we have a new transformation which appears to be Invincible Wario. And this will be only useful specifically in the stage, mainly due to the fact that as you notice that we actually got ourselves a bit of an eye thing going on right there, and if you actually being seen as visible, basically that it actually blocks you if you're not able to actually like not becoming invincible. So because of that, well, I'll show that off in a second. So because of that though, yeah, there's not much else to say in terms of Wario Land 3, even though besides the fact that the actual the game itself is now in full color. Whilst if you ever play on the original Game Boy hardware, this will not be playable. So because of that, Game Boy Color is the only way you can play this game. So because of that, and before I played this on the for the first time on the 3DS, for the eShop version, I actually really enjoyed it. That is when it gets to the point in 2018 that I managed to able to actually just to get the physical copy of the game. Unfortunately though, that is where the point where my Game Boy collection sometimes managed to screw me up by the forms of a dead safe battery. So because of that, I've managed able to obtain another copy of the game, but this time around though with a working battery for the saving battery compartment. During the course of, I would say in this year specifically, because I know it has been about a couple of days since I actually did manage to touch this game, so yeah, you probably get a suggestion. So, and it looks like we have actually access to desert ruins in the west portion of this world map. So, hopefully we'll probably get to there right now. So, and yeah, at that point right there, as you saw, that will be kind of important. Well, it might be pretty much optional, unless if you really want to go for 100% completion. And yes, in order to be able to get 100% in this game in particular, is the fact that, well, we have to collect 100 treasures. So, it's going to be a lot more this time around though, compared to the forms of how it does it back on, well, let's just say in Wario Land 2 or something. Even though, mind you, it has been quite a few days since I actually did manage to touch upon Wario Land series up to this point. Although, mind you, though, is the fact that me and Ray the Flying Squirrel will decide to take a break on Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury for the Nintendo Switch, even though, mind you, that we've already did manage to complete it. You know, Super Mario 3D World portion of the game. Well, so we'll save Bowser's Fury until specifically whenever we finish this game first, until October. So because of that, hopefully it should be pretty exciting to be able to actually dive right into Bowser's Fury. So yeah, I think Ray will actually be looking forward to that way more than I do. Although, don't get me wrong, I'm actually still looking forward to it as well. But sometimes I probably need to take a break from that, you know, with the frustrating level in Super Mario 3D World, which is Champions Road. But at least thankfully we must take a break on that game for a bit after that, a lot of, you know, trial and error and everything. So yeah, you probably get the idea. So anyways, let's go ahead and avoid these little, well, let's just say kind of like worms-like kind of enemies, or caterpillars to be more specific. Although if you somehow manage to get touched by that specific attack, basically that's another one of those new transformations that you've come across into. That's what appears to be Wool Wario. So because of that, well, we'll point it out until whenever we get to the later portion of the game, as I said. So anyways, there we got ourselves some sort of like a paper from that particular red chest. So, oh yeah, here's another thing is worth noting for, is the fact that this game does manage to introduce the day and night system, which, just like it informs if one of those boards in Mario Party 2, which is of course Horrorland, and a majority of Mario Party 6, that basically, depending if it's either day or night, sometimes they might actually differ as the actual level designs and all that stuff. Although the actual level design is actually pretty much the same, aside from aesthetics and all that stuff might be a bit different, and also the music itself too is actually also different, which that was before when, you know, Mario Party 6 was a thing, and then basically that some of these boards do have their slightly alternate music and stuff like that, so yeah, that pretty much can be summarized as such. So, oh yeah, here's another one of those returning transformations ever since in Wario Land 2, which appears to be Spring Wario. And basically, what that does is that this allows you to be able to bounce a little bit higher until you're able to actually reach higher places and all that stuff. But still, it can be annoying at times, especially noticeably if you think you're about to be able to go after the chest that you've obviously want to go after. That is, you notice that it might actually be a little bit tedious to wait. So, but that's as far as I can usually try to complain about. But anyway, and also that coins do make a return after the events of Wario Land 2, so pretty much the same thing that usually happens from there. However though, the coins might able to actually use as in the actual mandatory thing if you're trying to able to go after every single chest throughout the game. And there's also a special collectibles in this game, which appears to be music coins. And because of that, if you do manage to able to obtain them all, well, we can't do it right now because obviously we are pretty much limited power and all that stuff, or we are not unbeatable because much like in the well, let's just say in Metroid or anything else like that, basically you start off from the beginning and obviously there's not much else you can do at the beginning, but until later on, then basically that the more you become improvements for, you know, trying to able to obtain, you know, more powers and more abilities and all that stuff. So, but you know, you get the idea about that. And we got another piece of paper, which, as far as I'm aware, if we combine those two papers into one, basically it will actually just trigger something. To be more specifically, well, I will classify for saying that the wind, or like tornado, will just, well, go away. And then basically this will lead us to the next level, which is the Volcano's base. So, I think we should probably hit it there next. So, oh yeah, something's worth mentioning for this point as well is the fact that much like in Wario Land 2, that we stumbled across the different colored, well, technically speaking, there was actually 4 different colored coins, which basically you're able to collect the yellow ones, which will give you just 1 coin. That's pretty much about it. And as far as I'm aware, there's also the gray, blue, green, and even red coins, depending on what pathways you took. So like for instance, if I was going to do the normal pathway, that I'm going to be taking the actual gray chest route. And basically, as you notice, that we still need to able to get the gray key in order to able to actually open up the chest. So because of that though, definitely worth noting for is the fact that sometimes that if you grab the the different colored coins, I'm guessing that you get like 10 extra coins or 20 coins, even though it has been like, you know, a couple of days since I actually last touched this, so forgive me if I botched it, but regardless of everything else though, that's as far as I can wager. So yeah, as you can see, there's actually the silver coin over there, which it only appears depending on what specific pathways you go to. So because of that, again, it's all about exploration. So anyway, so let's go ahead and slide down here, and can I possibly get this? Yes, I do. In fact, some of these sound effects do heavily borrowed from Wario Land 2, by the way, so... And before we get into more details about this, here's the first boss in the game, which appears to be, according to the forms of the actual Wikipedia, its name is Dull Boy. And basically, you have to take down those 3 barrels at first, and then basically, after when you're done with 3 barrels, you have to just punch him, or jump on him, on his head, and then basically finish him off like so. Definitely a bit of an easier fight, although just like in Wario Land 2, if you mess up on that particular boss fight, much like in Wario Land 2, you basically managed able to get kicked out of the boss fight, you know, very much like in Wario Land 2. So thankfully you can able to, like, you know, try again as much as you please. So, and here's our overalls, which appears to be our first power-up, which meaning that after we finish with this level, then we're pretty much able to see the actual controls, meaning that we can now finally ground pound. So that way we can now able to actually go back into, well, the previous levels for sure. So this meaning, like for instance, for example, you know, in the fast plane level, that normally we can't do anything at the moment for able to try to explore in certain places, but at least we can go back into Out of Woods and Fast Plane. So because of that, yeah, it doesn't matter what specific places you want to go to, unless the actual key requirements and all that stuff will still be the key here. But anyway, let's hit into, no matter what though, let's hit into Out of Woods. So because of that though, because, well, despite the fact that we've already technically see the daytime version of this level, but eventually we'll able to see, you know, the nighttime version of that particular stage eventually. So, yeah, you probably get the idea about that. So, and of course, though, we still can't pick up enemies and just throw them as projectiles just yet, though, because until later on throughout the game, then we'll stumble across into that. So, anyway, so that's pretty much as far as I can say about it. So anyway, let's just go here, and I can tell we ended up on the red chest path, so we definitely need that red key somehow, and of course we got ourselves the red coin, so yeah, that should be pretty cool though. So yeah, I think the amount of colored coins, it always contains the exact same amount of coins potentially. So yeah, it doesn't really matter of which specific colored coins that you would able to actually stumble across. So, but you know, you get the idea about that. So but anyway, so there's not much else I can say in terms of Wario Land 3, aside from the fact that, well, it's pretty much just like the expansion to Wario Land 2, except the fact that with all these movesets that you've obviously polished off after the events of Wario Land 2 is no longer there, unless it needs to be unlocked during the course of the levels. So, yeah, that's pretty much about it. And of course, there are some other levels that it does manage to block off by the forms of that particular minigame clear block, and this meaning that if we're able to actually enter this door over there, like, you know, with the actual enemy door over there, well, this will pretty much lead us to the golf game. And basically, this is mandatory if you really want to finish the game. However though, I have to admit though right away, I'm not a big fan of the golf game like this. Especially noticeable, I swear, my aiming shots wasn't exactly the most accurate thing in the world. Especially noticeable, it doesn't help about the fact that sometimes I swear my depth perception has always become like impossible to complete. Especially noticeable that, well, as you can tell, as what's shown on this red flag, basically you do need able to get a certain amount of shots in order to able to get the hole in. But, unfortunately, I screwed this up for the first time, so this means that, yes, in order to play the golf sections, you have to pay coins. Although it's not so bad in the beginning, you only have to pay like 10 coins, but eventually the pricing itself gets increased, so meaning that the maximum amount you can hold up to, or try to pay for, is 50 coins, so... And, yeah, I'm just not a big fan of this, though. Although, I'm sure enough that most people appreciate it with this system, but for me, I'm always stuck at it. So because of that though, that'll be the only downside to this game to me though, especially noticeable if you're trying to progress to the actual levels. Well, you have to deal with them, because otherwise, if you don't, then you have to keep on farming coins, because if you run out of coins, then you have to keep farming them. So because of that though, unless if you're able to actually restart the level and stuff, some stuff like that. So yeah, I just have no idea why I'm always having trouble with this. Especially noticeable because, as I said before, that, you know, you have to farm for more coins. But it also doesn't help about the fact that sometimes that the actual golf courses are random. So because of that though, I always stumble across, clear 4, meaning you have to get like, you know, you have to clear this in under like 3 shots, or 4 shots for that matter. So thankfully I've passed that after several tries. So because of that though, yeah, I'm just not a big fan of those golf segments. But at least thankfully the platforming sections aren't too shabby. Well, until the next couple of levels that it might actually get ourselves a bit tedious involved. Well, not so much tedious though, but we'll have to admit though right away that it is a well, I have no words to say about this, because I know it has been like a couple of days since I actually last recording some things. So after the events of you know, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury on the Switch. So alright, so it looks like the actual jar will able to cause the actual rain to appear. And basically this will lead us to the next level, which is the Pool of Rain and a Town in Chaos. So yeah, 2 levels in 1 unlockable levels that we can now actually access to. So because of that, let's go back to the vast plain, and now we can able to do some more things here and there, thanks to the forms of that ground pound ability that I've managed to obtain. So, you know, you get the idea about that. And then eventually, whenever you get yourselves some more power-ups, mainly for like later on throughout the game, then basically then you more able to actually go into the well, the previous levels again, but you can able to actually explore in different portions throughout. So yeah, you get the suggestion by that point. So, and here's the actual another returning ability from, or the returning transformation from Wario Land 2. We have Buff Wario, or the Puff Wario. Like, if you manage to get poked by something spiky, that's basically that you're able to float in the air, and then if you touch the ceiling, basically that you turn back to your normal state. So, pretty standard stuff for the most part, especially noticeable that if you ever played Wario Land 2 before, you should probably expect it by this point. Even though the actual sprite on Wario feels exactly similar to Wario Land 2, except for several transformations has been slightly improved on, you know, the sprite work and all that stuff, which that might be seems the case. So, anyways, let's go down to this pipe again. And since we got ourselves the red key, so that means we can now able to actually go. Oh, first of all, we need to take care of this this golf segment first. So I'm really hoping I can get myself the easier course throughout, but thankfully we actually got ourselves some more coins here and there. So oh, please don't tell me it's the exact same course, as I've already have some struggles with it. Yep, it's gonna be the same course, because I can see there's a lava pit over there, and basically if you manage to let that enemy go into this lava pit, basically you get an OB. So because of that, you know, just like in any other regular golf and all that stuff though, and I somehow screw this up, because I swear, sometimes I'll have to admit though, the power gauge timing is a bit strict for my taste, or maybe it's because I'm pretty much used to with Mario Golf, Super Rush, that at least in that game, I can at least manage to able to like time my button presses, and thankfully the actual course it's like 3-dimensional, so I can able to actually know the terrain and all that stuff, but that's probably just me. But anyway, I get the feeling I might as well screw up again, so yeah, it will take me a lot of tries if I was able to try to get to this little segment over there. So, well, at least the good thing, we've now stumbled across part 3 course, so at least we got ourselves hole in 1! Even though it did took me 3 attempts, so at least in that particular goal segment, so it gets a bit annoying though if you manage able to stumble across the hardest levels in the game, and then if you manage able to waste all of your coins, then basically you're gonna have to keep on farming these coins. So yeah, there's that music coin over there that I was expecting to be able to obtain one, but I'll probably will save those up until whenever we finish the main game first. Because here's the thing, if you think you're about to be able to actually keep your music coins and then just trying to keep it for good, right? Well, you're wrong, because you're going to be able to grab all 8 of those music coins within one attempt. So, in this case, for instance, if I somehow got that one particular music coin, as you noticed, on the previous levels ago, basically, if I somehow manage to keep my music coin and finish the level, I can expect I can able to keep one and then just grab the rest, right? Well, the thing pretty much resets, so this means about the fact you have to able to re-grab those again, but only within one specific playthrough. Well, to be more specifically, on your first run. So, yeah, you can't do it on the second run, or multiple runs, or anything else like that, so you have to do this within one singular run-through. So it's like a marathon of any sorts. And, basically, that, as I said before, that every single stages in this game does manage to contain, like, you know, 8 music coins to be found, so, but at least that's something you might able to get some considerations. So, anyways, let's do some sort of like a punch jump thingy right there, and grab this gray key for, you know, trying to open up the gray chests, so that should be expected by that point, and, yeah, you get the idea about that. Although, most of these levels can be pretty short though, well, at least at the beginning anyway, but until eventually later on though, it gets a bit lengthy and all that stuff, which, to be expected with most, exploration type of games like this, although until it gets to the point until Wario Land 4, or, Wario Land The Shake Dimension, basically, that, some of these levels might actually go a lot more longer due to the forms of, well, the amount of stuff you have to collect, well, specifically in, well, coins in Wario Land 4, and even the forms of treasures in Wario Land Shake It, and especially notable, they managed to include the missions, so that might be some consideration worth noting for. So, anyways, let's head into the next new level, which is A Town in Chaos. So, once again, much like in Wario Land 2, we're going back into a city world of any sorts. So, thinking about the fact that we can able to actually explore onto, you know, inside the buildings, and also we can able to actually explore onto the outside portion of the city, and, yeah, everything's all comes together for this point, so. But anyway, let's just go ahead and enter this little door over there. So because of that, we can able to do... Okay, this is not the right room to be able to go to. Sometimes I do need a guide of any sorts to be able to figure out what I'm supposed to do. Because unlike any forms of Wario Land 2, I found it's pretty simple and self-explanatory. Whilst in here, sometimes it's all about a guide game, because without it, then it will be like barely playable at times. Well, maybe it's just me, but anyway, let's just go ahead and enter this room here, and, as you notice that we actually also stumbled across another familiar transformation that we've already seen since Wario Land 2. That's what appears to be Ice Wario, which, if you manage to get caught by the forms of a snowflake, by the forms of some sort of like an ice bear enemy. And basically, that, this allows you to able to get yourself, slide, or, well, let's just say you get slid by the, you know, if you actually get into the actual ice sea kind of stuff, and basically, that it can either take you to all the way to the left or to the right, so, yeah, self-explanatory. And also, there's another new, familiar transformation if you guys played Wario Land 2 before, and that's what appears to be, wow, Fat Wario, and basically that if you manage to eat a donut of any sorts, which I'm presuming that's what the actual stuff in this point anyway, and basically if you do somehow manage to eat the donut, basically you're able to become a little bit more, well, bulky, or to be more specifically, you know, overweight, or specifically fatter Wario, and then basically it allows you to able to break, you know, these little solid blocks, and especially noticeable, they now show up as in these donut symbols, meaning you can only able to actually break those blocks if you're in fat mode. So because of that, something's worth knowing for. But anyway, now we've actually got ourselves the gray chest that we can able to actually open up into. And basically, this will give us a spinning cogs, and I believe what these things can do, I'm pretty sure it'll lead us to the next level. So, yeah, we'll insert those 2 spinning wheels, or spinning cogwheels, to be able to activate the elevator. Very similar to the forms of how it does it in Virtual Boy Wario Land, except we're no longer in the undergrounds, so... Anyway, so this will pretty much lead us to the south portion of the Music Box Hub World, or the world map I should say, and this will pretty much lead us to the next world, which is the Grasslands. So, yeah, that should be interesting, so we'll hit it there next, so... Yeah, there's not much else you can say apart from the fact that, well, potentially speaking that, well, we actually gone pretty okay for the most part, except the fact that with all these golf segments that I've always have struggled with. But, regardless of everything else though, I might be pretty decent at it though, so... Anyways, oh god, we have these annoying birds. These annoying birds make a return since Wario Land 2, except they're different visual variety, so... Anyways, here's the next boss in this game, which appears to be his name was, if I can able to do a massive research on it, his name was Wormherd. So basically, all you have to do is basically you have to punch him at first, and then you have to ground pound his head quite a few times, even though it gets a bit difficult later on. And I realize I'm missing a great key, so definitely I need to able to do a massive search to able to actually just try to find that great key. I believe the great key was actually in here. Which, yes, it does needs to be in here. So, and because of that, we do need to acquire another familiar transformation, since Wario Land 2, this one appears to be Flat Wario. And basically, much like in Wario Land 2, that basically this allows you to able to... Okay, for some reason that enemy doesn't want to let me grab that great key over there, or that particular propeller robot thing, which I'm guessing is like the replacement of those bats from Wario Land 2, but I digress. So yeah, this transformation, much like Wario Land 2, this will be useful if you manage to go for these little thin, like, narrow segments, as you can see. And basically, the reason why we have to use him in the first place, just for the sake of that great key we need to obtain. So, yeah, there's not much right to home about. And now we've got the great key, so now we can head back onto the same area, but except now we need to, well, obtain the great chest to able to actually just, you know what I mean. Yeah, but those birds, yeah, they're kind of annoying in this game, much like in Wario Land 2. However though, unlike in Wario Land 2, that the only difference is this time, I'm pretty sure with those orange variations of those birds, I'm pretty sure that it actually make you go like crazy Wario. So instead of like being drunk this time around, so yeah, that might be summarized as such. And here's one of the first music boxes. So because of that though, we've managed to able to got the first music box on the first part in Wario Land 3. So yeah, it's a pretty sweet little music melody right there. And I'm pretty sure that once we have obtained the first music box, we can able to expect to able to unlock the next level, which is the big bridge. And that's it. Sometimes several of the items will either unlock either one level or 2 levels or even multiple levels to able to actually access to. But anyways, here we go onto the big bridge, and right off the bat, the great key is actually at the very beginning. And once we grab that, we need to do the trickiest part, and that way we need to avoid a lot of fishies right there. Because if you get knocked over by these fishies, you have to go all the way back. And that is by far the shortest run that we've ever done. To be more specifically with that great chest in mind. So, and from here we got ourselves, I would say like a bean. And basically, I'm pretty sure this will actually be used until specifically for just right now recently. So because of that, I wonder what this will be unlocked. Oh wait, we actually got 3 seeds. So in this case, we'll have one in the fast plane. So that means we can now able to actually go back there. And of course we can able to also go back to the pool of rain, so that might be pretty cool and such. And of course another one in the grasslands, so yeah, that should be pretty swell. And I don't think there's anything else we can do at the moment in the south portions, well, unless we can go back into the grasslands for a bit. And because of that, I think we should probably obtain the red key now. And because of that, we can able to just find the red chest. So, I don't think there's anything else we can do aside from the red chest. So, yeah, I'm guessing that seems true. So, yeah, we'll hit up there while able to getting hit by those really weird little creatures, or these weird stuff over there. But, at the very least, we can able to, like, continue on from this point right there. So it's not too far, I don't think, aside from the minigame clear requirements. So, yeah, that might actually take me some time, so, you know, you get the idea about the actual topic for this point today. I mean, usually potentially speaking of Wario actually, that I believe we only got about 8 days to go until WarioWare Get It Together for the Nintendo Switch will be releasing. So because of that, I'm still excited for it, especially noticeable that I've been waiting for the next new WarioWare game after the events of WarioWare Gold. Despite the fact that WarioWare Gold might be a bit of a a compilation game of any sort, but regardless of everything else though, that's as far as I can usually wager, so. Anyway, so let's go ahead and deal with this golf segment again, and hopefully, I won't gonna mess this up or anything else like that. Well, at least for the most part, so anyway, let's see if I can... No! Okay, whatever. At least it actually took me another attempt. Come on, get in! Thank you. Oh, man. At least thankfully I did manage to done this on the first attempt, luckily, so yeah, that should be pretty cool. But anyway, let's just go ahead and, you know, continue on here. And because since we got ourselves the red key, this means we can now able to go back down. And eventually, we were able to get ourselves the treasure from the red chest. So, yeah, that pretty much summarize for that particular segment. Alright, so we got ourselves, I think this is one of those wheels from, I would say from the next level that we can possibly, yep, we're about to be going back into this level, which is the Volcano's base. So yeah, pretty much the Volcano's base we can go back into, so. But, I might actually save that, level for later, because I'm pretty certain that, although, actually, couldn't think about it, I might actually... yeah, I might save that for later, because I think I might as well hit back into... let's do, one more level for this point today, and that's what appears to be the Fast Plane. And, seems to be more specifically that we actually went through Fast Plane, or the Fast Plane, 3 times so far, which is pretty swell. And of course that we still need to be able to actually utilize the invincibility potion, and because that way it allows me to be able to go through that little, security gate, so... Even though, whenever you enter pipes, you're able to go back to normal, so, yeah, you probably expect how this goes. So anyways, let's, continue on here, and, basically, we need to find the, well, I believe the next chest we can able to aim for is the green chest, and I believe the green chest is actually in this section, so, oh, wait a second, we do need to able to still come across into... That's, the actual, the golf game. Yep, I do definitely see that clear thing right there, so this meaning, yeah, we have to do with another golf thing. And also, the moon is about to try to get me! Oh, jeez, no wonder why that Princess Luna was actually getting ticked off. And she'll become, like, Nightmare Moon. Which, that might be... Oh, God! Oh! Ah! That leaves me... that just kicks me out. Oh, wow, that's a massive drop. Hey, sometimes, you know, backtracking can be, kind of annoying, but, at the very least, some, segments won't be that long, because, thankfully, we can able to actually make the process a bit faster by, climbing up to this ladder here, and get into that pipe as we go. And, hopefully, we, would be able to just climb back up, and then, I just get the feeling, oh, jeez, that was close. And, I think the doors, yep, it's just right there. Oh boy, we have to do this a lot, by the way, if you really want to progress. So, alright, I'm thinking this is the same course as before, so, yeah, I'm guessing it's the same course. Is it? Yep, it's the same course. Yeah, I just know it. Oh, you pushed me all the way back here? That's dumb. Okay, whatever. Well, nothing matters anyway, because I've lost, so screw this. Hey. But at least thankfully we're on to part 3 again, so, anyways, hole in one. Hole in one. Yes! Hole in one! awesome stuff. At least it did took me two tries, so. But anyway, I think we're pretty much done with that, and now let's go ahead and go on to while getting chased by that moon. And by the way, if you get hit by those stars, basically that you would able to get stunned. So, although if you ever play this level on daytime, you're able to get chased by the sun. And basically, if you get touched by the sun's fireball, basically you're able to summon across another familiar transformation from Wario Land 2. That's what appears to be Flame Wario, or Fire Wario as far as I'm aware. And basically that it allows you to able to walk back, left and right, back and forth, until you're able to get enough, if you touch the wall several times, then you would be able to, like, well, you know what I mean, managed able to turn into a fire and all that stuff, so yeah, you probably get the gist of it. So, yeah, I think I should probably end things off at this point right here. So join me next time on Let's Play Wario Land 3. It's the fact that we're going back onto the previous levels that we've already done. I think we should probably take care of the Pool of Rain next. So either way though, we'll head on to the Volcano's base. So yeah, I'll see you guys until on Tuesday. Later, fellas.